Hello and welcome to Fruitful Counselling, the podcast where we talk all things mental health, counselling and therapy. So this episode is going to be all about anxiety. So anxiety is a very well-known thing, mental health condition that we talk about, but I think it gets a bad rep. So the thing with anxiety, it can manifest in so many different ways, but initially it's there to keep us safe. So it's the reason that we don't walk out in front of a lorry, the reason we brake our car when we see danger, a reason we don't let our child play with small objects, our babies play with small objects, those kind of things. That's normal anxiety. That keeps us safe. That's what anxiety is by definition. A feeling of fear that kind of keeps us safe. What happens when anxiety kind of spirals, gets out of control, and becomes overpowering is that we get other forms of anxiety such as general anxiety disorder. And it's important to recognise that what that can do is really hinder someone's experience of everyday life. And I do talk about everyday life a lot because I think it's really important that we recognise that that's all people are trying to do. They're trying to access daily life. So we're talking about getting up in the morning, getting dressed, going to work, coming home, eating well, maybe exercising, socialising, things like that. Normal, everyday life. Everyone's normal is different, but there is a normal for you, there is a routine for you that you might recognise kind of slips out. It kind of jars when things aren't right, when anxiety's creeping in, when something's not sitting well, when something's scary. Anxiety for me comes out in overthinking and overwhelm and the critical inner voice. Oh, she gets loud. She can get really loud. And the reason I call her a she is I give her a name. So I cannot remember where I picked this up from, but it was years ago. She's called Steve. Go figure. I've got no idea why I chose Steve, but I did. She's called Steve. And how that helps me in certain situations is when that inner voice, that inner critic is getting so loud, I can find myself, well, I put myself in a position where I can go, Steve, no, that is not for now. Pack it in, go back in your box, off you go. We don't need you. You're not needed here in this situation. You're not needed now. So she's personified. She's become other. She's out of body. She doesn't have to be a part of me in that moment. So that's the strategy that I can use. Because the thing with anxiety is it likes isolation. That's where it thrives. It wants you to kind of be on your own because that's when it can really, really dig its claws in. So my anxiety comes out at night when I'm alone in bed normally. So put my son to bed, the house is quiet, boom. I'm doing my nighttime routine and it can creep in as early as, getting into bed and then lying down and it's going, right, let's overthink everything. And I'm like, nothing's happened, brain. Nothing has happened to make me question myself, question this weekend or today or whatever it may be. A lot of the time it can be, it's nothing. Like, why are you unpicking that? Nothing really happened then. What are you talking about? And then it rips me to shreds, to absolute shreds, and make me feel that I'm not good enough, that I'm not in the right place, that I'm behind in life. That's not a thing. And, I'm not achieving enough, I'm not doing enough. I think we already hold ourselves to such a high standard. I couldn't do more if I tried. Convincing my brain of that late at night, that is a whole other task. So when telling Steve to go away doesn't work, I find myself I need to possibly switch the light on, change the scene, switch my lamp on, reach my notebook. I always have a notepad and pen next to my bed. I think it's really useful for clearing your mind before night. I am a big fan of journaling. Journaling is so therapeutic for me. Again, not for everyone. Everyone has different strategies. Things will work for different people. But journaling's a big one for me. And late at night, if something's playing on my mind, if it's something that I maybe have forgotten to do or something I want to remember to do the next day, pop it on that list. For general overthinking, it doesn't always work because there are times I can't pinpoint why I'm overthinking this. The other weekend, I had a lovely weekend, very normal, nothing really happened. And then in bed, the anxiety kicked in, which led to insomnia, led to a sleepless night for nothing that I could pinpoint. That feels quite unfair because nothing happened. But these things happen to us that we have to find a way to control. I can't go a sleepless night. I am rubbish on no sleep. So that's for me to find a way of how can I overcome that voice when she's so loud at that time of night. The thing with writing the list, if something comes into our head and we're like, right, I need to remember that, or I want to think about that more, or I didn't do that today. If you write it down, that's your memory bank. The reason we keep it in our forefront of our minds is because our working memory needs a certain amount of time on one topic to then store it in our short-term or long-term memory. We can't think of something once and then it banks. Brain doesn't work like that. So by writing it down, I am giving myself permission to not store it. You don't need to store that. You've written it down. So that allowing yourself to let it go, to put it on that piece of paper, you're giving your brain an alternative. You don't need to keep this in your working memory. We don't need it. It's written down. We'll come to it tomorrow. So that is something that I find to be really effective. And journaling in general, I think, is a really good reflective tool. It helps you see how far you've come. It helps you to manage progress. And just that reflection on yourself and how far you've come in those moments where you feel stuck, where you're comparing and you don't feel far enough along. Comparison is the thief of joy and can be another source of anxiety. I'm not going to be able to cover all forms of anxiety in one episode because there's just so many. Something I'm hearing more of is health anxiety. Me and my friends, as we approach our 40s, things look different and illnesses look different, and some illnesses become a reality, and that can manifest in different ways. It can make us look at life differently and behave differently, and it can make us try and become smaller. How can I have the most impact on my health anxiety? Well, I'll withdraw. I'll come away from everything. I'll reduce danger. So I won't go out as much. I won't see as many people. And that's where your anxiety is thriving. It's loving that isolation. It's going, I am in. I am locked in. And I can grow because I'm on my own. I've managed to get my subject on their own. And I guess it's kind of like a virus in that way. Clever in some ways. But there's a saying that's circulating recently that said, if you're going to allow yourself to think the worst, at least allow yourself to think the best. And I think there's power in that. How could this end in the best possible way? And there's some situations where maybe that can't be applied right now, but maybe it can in a few weeks or a month. And I'm hoping that your anxiety maybe isn't sticking around for that long, but it might be on something bigger. And I don't want to assume that everyone's dealing with the same type of problem because that is not reality. We all experience life differently and from our own perspective. Another thing that I touched on with my anxiety is that overwhelm. I can feel overwhelmed. I wouldn't say easily, but I'd say it's kind of a drop of a hat. So I won't know it's coming. I won't recognize that I'm about to become overwhelmed. I will just be overwhelmed and things will feel too much. And I won't stop doing the things, but I will be doing them as though it's an emergency, as though we're in panic mode now, because this list of tasks or thoughts or things that need to be done is too much and unmanageable. And sometimes that might be the reality. It's my responsibility to step back and see, right, well, what's going on? What's too much? What's actually overwhelming you? A lot of that can be digital for me. So I kind of have to step away from my phone, and it doesn't need to be for long. Turning the notifications off on my watch is so powerful because you become less reactive to your device. And for me, I really need that at times to just step away and be at the task on hand. Because sometimes I find myself coming away from what I'm meant to be doing because I'm reacting to my phone and maybe messages and parcels need to be sent out or anything like that. Or, oh, you just need to fill this form in. Oh, I'll just do that really quickly. Or I'll just check my emails. Actually, you're meant to be washing the pots. Just wash the pots. Just finish that task. But we have this pull. And I know I mentioned resilience on my Instagram. But those things pull my resilience down. I'm not exerting my right to access my own resilience by being reactive to my phone, by not going, I'm not answering that. I'm putting that aside. I'm not choosing not to engage with that right now. I think, yeah, that's one of the biggest ones for me. I love a list. I find lists, we've discovered writing down's good for me. I love pen and paper. It helps me prioritise. It helps me, I kind of do small tasks, big tasks. See, small tasks, change the bedding. You can do that today. Big task, paint a room. When are you doing that? Another time. A weekend, a half term, whatever it might be. So being able to separate kind of my tasks. And that leads me on nicely to the glass ball and plastic ball analogy. Again, can't remember who told me about this. I think it might have been a colleague I worked with who might come on here in the future. She's fabulous, if it's who I'm thinking of. Very knowledgeable. So the plastic balls, these are things that if we drop them, they don't break and it's okay. And I'm talking about your washing pile. I hate seeing my washing baskets overflowing, but it happens. It's life. And if something isn't washed straight away and that ball drops, I can pick it back up again, and that is okay. When we talk about the glass balls, I'm talking about that time with my son that I cannot get back. And if I drop it, if I lose sight of that ball, then where does that leave me? Where does that leave him? Where does that leave our relationship? If it's fractured and, smashed and broken. And if I'm not having that time with him, or I'm maybe short-tempered and, the ball might not be dropped, but it's getting lower. We're testing the ball out here. We're seeing if it bounces. Something's not right. We need to weigh up what we're taking care of. What can we drop from the plastic pile to make sure we keep hold of the glass? To make sure we take care of what's important. I'd say as a species, we are brilliant at recognising things and what matters when it comes to the crunch. When someone's ill, we know that health's important. But before that, might rain check on that date, might rain check on that coffee. But when they're ill, I knew I should have gone. I know they're important. They are an important person in my life. How am I showing them that? So something to think about. It might help, it might not, but the plastic and glass ball is something that has helped me in a few situations. Maybe when home the house is feeling overwhelming, things aren't as tidy or as put away as I'd like them to be. But what am I sacrificing if I drop that? Well, nothing, because it's meant that me and my son have got to do lots of nice things, or we've just spent time together, or it's meant that I've not lost my rag with him because I'm not trying to do too many things at once. Again, your glass balls and plastic balls might look different to mine, to everybody's. That's the idea. We're all meant to be different. Some of them will cross over, but it's a nice tool for you to be able to see what is in each pile for you and how it plays out and how you want it to look. Do you want to make a change? Is there some things that you're treating as glass that can be put in the plastic pile? Is there some things you're treating as plastic that need to be treated as though they're glass? They're breakable, they're fragile, they are important. Again, everyone's will be different. Something I absolutely love, I love words, hence me talking to you guys. I love poems, and sayings. Oh, I love a quote. Got quotes tattooed all over me. I find power in them. I find them inspiring. Everybody is different. I might not like this. I might not appreciate this. But something that has stuck with me is this little book, How to Quieten Your Mind, Anna Barnes. I think it's from The Works in many moons ago, and I can't remember why I purchased. Well, it's quite obvious why I purchased it, but when or the circumstances. But it's on my bookshelf and it will remain there. So this little quote, and it's from Banksy, and it says, "If you get tired, learn to rest, not quit." And that is just so important. It's easy to think that if we're not getting to the destination in the time that we thought we would, that it wasn't meant for me, us, you, that we should stop. That's it now. I didn't get there when I thought I would. I'm done. How about we pause? We take a minute, we take stock, and then we get back to it. We give ourselves a chance to reevaluate anything. It can be anything. This can apply to anything, and I really, really love it. And that idea of resting is so important in such a busy world. I feel guilty with rest. It's something I work on all the time. After this record, there's nothing really in the diary, and my mind is already questioning what we are going to do with the rest of the day. When actually we've had quite a busy week, and resting would probably be useful. It would be time well spent. But it's something that I'm working on, and I'll continue to work on it. So yeah, I hope you took something from that. All thoughts, please comment below, share them, get in touch at inquiries@fruitfulcounselling.com, and like, follow, share, tell your friends about it, and come along for the journey where we discuss all things mental health, counselling and therapy and lived experiences. Next week I'll have a fantastic guest on the podcast for you. Until then, take care.